So for our project, we bought a new light fixture from my wife's favorite store, Menards, local home improvement store. Box is already open, thankfully. We'll take out the things that we don't think we need. We have screws and wire nuts already in our bowl. Put the instructions aside, and then we're going to unpop the light fixture. Fixture has plastic bag around it and some cardboard, which is actually okay. So on the back of the fixture, you see there's the mounting plate that we use to put it back into the junction box or the J box. So first thing we'll have to do is remove it from the fixture itself. There's two nuts that we'll have to remove, and as experience has taught me, two serrated washers on there as well. So we'll get the first one out. That was easy. You can see the nut and the serrated washer. And we'll go and get the second one. Sorry, for my next video I'll get a better camera instead of my iPhone. I also kind of hate it when I watch the YouTube videos and you can't see what the guy's doing half the time. So, nuts removed, the washer's removed. So now we take the bracket off. And then we're going to figure out how to mount the bracket. So the fixture stays straight, and the new fixture is grounded, and it's flush against the plastic plate. Sorry about that. So one of the first things we want to do is we want to make sure these screws, these leveling screws I'll call them, are able to rotate. Because if you mount the fixture and you're not able to rotate it, you're going to have to take these brackets back out. And I already know by installing one of them that these screws are too long, so I'm going to shorten it a little bit. So I'm moving the screw back. I'll hold it in place and then I'll tighten the nut. You'll understand in a minute why I'm doing that, but that's basically being done so you can make sure you can install a light fixture without the stud sticking too far out. And making sure the fixture is nice and tight against the side of the house. So that's our starting point for now. We'll put the bracket up where it's supposed to be, and we'll get started. So the first screw goes in. Line it up with the hole in the J box. Finger tighten it a little bit. Like I said earlier, if you're clever, you would have a power screwdriver or a drill. Set at the screwdriver setting to do this at this point. Save yourself 3 or 4 minutes. Just going to finger tighten that. Not all the way though, and then I'm going to do the second screw. Again, find where it goes inside the J box. Line it up. Start tightening. As much as you can with your finger, because that's Normally faster than doing it with your hand screwdriver, at least for me. And then I move the bracket in place so it's centered. Get my screwdriver in there to go the last 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Tighten it down as much as you can without deforming the mounting plate. Do the same thing on the bottom. Tighten that down. You can see right next to where I'm tightening the screw, there's another screw. That's the screw for grounding your light fixture, which is always a good thing to do to make sure nobody gets shocked by electricity in case there's a short in the system. And this is a nice copper wire with no insulation. That's your ground wire. So we'll uncurl that. And then we'll make a nice little U with it. Make sure our ground wire screw is a little loose. And the next step is to put that wire on there. And again, I'm sorry for the camera angle. So I gotta loosen it a little bit more. That's much better. Tighten it up. So that's good. Next we want to connect our wires. This is our white wire. Want to make sure the individual wires are twisted together, and then twist them together with white on white. It's very important that the colors match for the white. So I tightened the wire nut from before. I didn't use the wire nut that came with the kit. These are better wire nuts, better quality wire nuts from the contractor that originally installed them in the house. And then we do the same thing with the black wire. Make sure there's no fraying of the wire tip. Take off the wire nut from before. This goes to a yellow wire. That's the same as black. Go ahead and we tighten the wire nut on. Make sure it's hard to turn before we stop. Next thing is to tighten the bracket that the light fixture is going to get mounted on. Make sure it doesn't turn. Tighten both the top screw and the bottom screw. Line it up as much as possible so it looks like it's level. And now we're going to mount the light fixture. So this is a little tricky, of course. You want to get the holes on the mounting plate to line up on both sides, which we just did. It's being held in place by friction. So I'm going to test to see if the screw is too long, which of course it is. And we'll test it on the other side too, just to make sure. See if we have to shorten the screw on that side at all. So of course, that's too long as well, so I'll take the nut off. Take the fixture off, and then use loosen that nut. Rotate that screw so it goes back like a 1/2 inch, or 1/4 of an inch I should say. Loosen this nut. Do the same thing. Tighten down the nut again so the screw doesn't rotate when you put the nut on the outside. And then we play magical Jenga, trying to get the studs through the holes again on the mounting plate. So, one more try. So in this case, the nut is pretty tight. We're going to put the serrated washer on so the nut doesn't come back off. This also give us a little spacing there so it's a little tighter. Do the same on the other. And this side we're going to give it a little bit of a twist since I know the nut's not going all the way down. This is very exciting, but necessary, as they say. So now it's nice and tight. So fixtures in, fixtures installed. So last magical thing to do is install your light bulb. We'll give that a second.